morning and good Morgen. A very warm welcome to you. I'm very pleased to welcome you today to this sixth online seminar in our series of events on libraries and sustainability. Bevor Sie sich nun wundern, dass wir heute auf Englisch diskutieren werden, hier der Hinweis, dass unsere Gäste heute aus dem Ausland kommen und wir daher die Sprache wechseln. My name is Hella Klauser. I'm working in the field of international cooperation at the German Library Association, and I'm very pleased to be moderating today's webinar. We started this seminar series this year with the intention to highlight different aspects of the topic of libraries and sustainability. We have divided the seminars into three thematic areas. The first one was environmental sustainability, and here we offered 3 webinars on the topics of climate strategies in libraries. The second was building greener through reusing existing buildings. And the third was funding opportunities in the area of climate protection. Then the second thematic area, there we discussed topics on education for sustainable development, ESD, or in German, Bildung für nachhaltige Entwicklung. We proposed 2 webinars in this topics area. First, an introduction to the topic and best practice examples. And second, the role of libraries in ESD, federal states strategies in Germany. And with today's webinar, we will start our third thematic area with sustainability and politics. Here we want to discuss how libraries can increase their visibility and importance towards politics and decision makers and society with their sustainability activities. A second webinar on this topic will follow at the beginning of next year, and this will be in German again. So all our webinars are recorded and in German. So if you missed one or want to watch the other recordings, you can easily find them all on our website, and you find the link here in the chat. So today's seminar is different from the previous ones, not only because of the language. In the previous webinars, we had concentrated on the German geographical region. Today, we would like to broaden the perspective beyond the country's borders and look at the activities in the Czech Republic, this is our current partner country, in Ireland and in Latvia. The topic, sustainability and libraries, is a worldwide one and is dealt with in many libraries all over the world. So it makes sense to inform and inspire each other and to move forward together. In this context, we will also hear about the activities of the European and international associations, EBLIDA and IFLA. Today, we have invited 3 specialists from abroad who have succeeded in bringing the issue of sustainability in their country's libraries into the political arena and the importance of libraries into policy strategies and policy papers. How did they manage to do this? What did they take into account? This is what we ask Eliska Bartošová from the Czech Republic, Stuart Hamilton from Ireland, and Māra Jēkabsone from Latvia. Of course, there will be the opportunity, dear audience, for you to please write your questions and comments in the chat, in German or in English as you like. Now let's start with our first presentation with our first speaker, Eliska Bartošová. Eliska was introduced to environmental protection topics at the age of 12 already, when she became a member of the Children's Assembly of the Czech Republic for the Environment. During studies at the Department of Environmental Studies at Māra University in Brno, she started working for the purpose-driven law company Frank Bold. During 9 years in Frank Bold, she had the opportunity to participate in the development of civil society at the local level and practical environmental protection through legal instruments. She discovered the power of libraries to contribute to environmental and social issues thanks to the project Social Innovation in Libraries at Māra University. Since then, she seeks to support libraries discover and deepen their role in fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goals as project manager at the Czech Library Association, STRUK. So, dear Eliska, thanks for joining us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, and hello and welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I will try to fulfill the topic of today's webinar, and I will just jump right into it. This is how it started in 2019. You can see the picture of our second meeting. You can see the UN officer Michal Broža here. You can see also Lenka Prucková, who is an advocate for IFLA SDG Stories Library Map. Here are the people from the Ministry of Environment, Jan Mareš and Lucia Sršňová. We started meeting in this group with a bunch of librarians who are interested in the topic, and we were discussing what could be done to help libraries to deepen their roles in SDGs. This meeting was special because it was a workshop one where we were talking about what to do and how to support libraries. We decided, or we came into conclusion, that libraries do contribute on fulfilling the SDGs already, but they might not realize their roles, and they definitely don't communicate it that way. So we were thinking how to promote and how to help libraries in broadening and strengthening their role. And we discovered that what we need is to support them and empower them to realize their roles and to give them some tools to be able to do more. To prove our initial hypothesis, we managed the research. We asked libraries to fill the form and with some questions and some comments, and we got more than 300 answers, which is not that small number. We were especially happy with the answers from the tiny local libraries. And we we had the feeling that we proved that libraries are interested in the topic. And those who wanted to stay in touch, those who wanted to be informed in these activities, we created the map of them, so we could see how many of them are there throughout the Czech Republic. And the map is still broadening, and we are still adding new and new libraries. This kind of helped us to start doing things that are visible. So we managed to create this DIY website, really DIY website, not exactly professional, but pretty useful for us to be able to show what we're doing. We also created this database in the Trello application, where we placed some tools or further reading or some useful information, so that the libraries can already start to handle the topic and read about and connect with interesting people and thoughts. Then in this was in 2019, and then in 2020, as you all know, the COVID came. So all the things like slowed down a little bit. And but it was also the time when the important decision came. Thanks also to Lenka Prudskova, which was there at the beginning on the picture, you could see her. The important decision was made. The sustainability will be the main communication topic of libraries in 2021. So we were preparing a project to technology agency where we wanted to help libraries to create some tools and some activities to support the SDGs. We also did some networking with possible partners. This is our initial map of partnership of organizations that are active in various aspects of SDGs. The project unfortunately wasn't successful, but we decided to do something anyways, more or less voluntarily. We didn't just want to print the leaflets and send them to libraries. We wanted to make something bigger. And we were lucky that we invited our last crucial member of the team, and we started to meet regularly. But it was just the end of the year when we came up with the idea of this year-long educational cycle and program, and that's what we started to develop in 2021. You can see some logos. We knew we want to make it relevant and important, and the easiest first step you could do, or we came up with, is to involve important partners and people and decision makers, and we asked them for support and auspices. And it was not only from the library field, like the library association, as you can see in the picture, like this association of librarians and the association of libraries. And but we also approached some ministries, like a Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Environment, and also, of course, the UN United Nations Information Center in Prague, where we had this important partnership with Michal Broža. Also, I've mentioned him on the first picture. We also got auspices from the UNESCO organization and some media partnership. So we wanted to make these people involved from the very beginning, and we were lucky to manage that. We got the logo, of course, you can see it on the picture, and we started to do this series of webinars and workshops. We invited a lot of guests, and there were 37 libraries involved, and we spent more than 44 hours today together in this year. We did what we could do. I have to say that COVID and this shift to online helped us a lot, especially in reaching libraries that otherwise wouldn't be able to travel and join us on the physical meetings. There were tiny little village libraries involved, and this was thanks to the online. We also did things like, and it's nothing new and innovative, I guess, we did things like a Facebook group and Facebook page, and we also were attending some physical meetings where we were talking about what we do. This one is from the meeting of methodologists in libraries, the people who can transport the ideas and the topic to the libraries in the regions. We also translated IFLA leaflet. This library supports the SDGs, so that the libraries can print it and make it visible that they support SDGs. the year 2021, we finished with a conference. It was online, so there was again quite a lot of people, even from the tiny libraries that would otherwise won't be able to come. And we invited and asked various initiatives and organizations, and we prepared it like a fair, like a festival, where those initiatives and organizations were offering concrete tools and collaborations and some even games, for example, or books that libraries that are ready to use in libraries. We asked a lot of different organizations, and most of them came. So there was more than 20 of them. And as you can see, this is the table of our program. We ran like 2, and then in the afternoon 3 parallel sessions, parallel blocks, where these people were approaching libraries with the offers and with some concrete tools. And it was also already in 2020 when there was a shift in the paradigm, let's say, when the system of one-year communication topic in libraries, the campaign that was usually designed to be year-long, and it was meant to highlight some important topic in libraries, that has changed. It changed so that now the campaigns are 2 years. They last 2 years. The first year is a preparatory. It's focused to the libraries to show and explain the topic. That the next year is going to be the visible one, the one that will be focused on broad audience or the users. So we also prepared some visuals for libraries that they can use for their activities connected to SDGs for their use during this year concretely. We also, and so we are moving to the year 2022, which is the one that is focused on public. This year, we are more focused on monitoring of the activities that are held by libraries. We are also sharing know-how. This is the picture from the workshop we held in Bratislava. We approached Slovak colleagues to share some know-how with them, and we were joining the activities in libraries that were focused toward public and users, so we could see how they are working with the topic. We also connected libraries to this campaign, which is called Week for Climate, or Climate Week, where a lot of them, you can see the cities where some activities were held. Most of the cities, or a lot of them, the activities were organized by libraries themselves. Libraries prepared and registered their activities. They took advantage of common promotion and visuals, and therefore we can see that libraries really got connected to the topic and to this special week. Some examples of concrete activities, of different kinds of activities for inspiration of others, and also for lobbying purposes. We are collecting on the webpage what the library can do under the hashtag sustainability. You can see that there is quite a lot of examples, different examples of various activities that can be done in libraries to support topics, sustainability topics. we are not yet finished with the monitoring. So I don't have concrete numbers right now, but and also these 2 years in libraries, at least in libraries in Czech Republic, are a pretty short period to see some structural great changes, and also to be able to prove their persistency. But what we saw is that many libraries grasped the topic, the idea, and they started being active. They offered some new activities. They started to communicate the sustainable development goals. And they also partnered with the organization we were trying to connect them with. So the idea is vivid and living, and we're pretty curious what's gonna happen, because next year the main communication topic in libraries is gonna be changed. It's gonna switch to the media literacy, which also can be seen as a prerequisite of SDGs. Well, you need to have the literacy, media literacy especially, to be able to communicate, to be able to reach the audience. So we will see what's gonna happen when the communication topic will change, and we would like to see sustainability to stay here with us, to underline and to become the way of thinking about what we are doing and how we do it. One example is this conference. It's the conference we're organizing on January. And the topic is sustainable living in cities. And again, we invite people and initiatives who are dealing with sustainability topics, who are dealing with the current issues and things like the climate crisis, energy crisis, and housing crisis, and some topics connected to food production and this sustainable living in the cities. We are inviting people who are, for example, organizing themselves in structures that are based on solidarity and trust, to provide the basic needs that market and politicians are sometimes failing to provide efficiently to those who need it. And I and my team, we strongly believe that libraries are the infrastructure that can help and that are already helping. And I also can see that those who are helping in the society, who are taking care of basic needs and the well-being of society, are somewhat, at least here, systematically undervalued in this society. And I have a question or maybe something to think about towards you also. If you have any ideas how to change this, systemic kind of undervaluing of people who are taking care, and libraries are amongst them, I would love to hear about them and discuss, because what is happening here with SDGs is that it's the agenda that is being translated into strategic framework of Czech Republic 2030, and the people who were in charge of it were already with us from the beginning. Those were the people from Ministry of Environment. And this strategic framework is also underlying the concept of the library development for the next years. But the agenda, to be honest, is pretty. It's like an unwanted child. It's something that is pretty put aside, and it's not a topic for great politics. It's something like it's thing that is there, everybody knows, but it's not on the top priority list when the important decisions are being made. So in next years there will be an actualization of the strategic framework, and we know we're discussing it with the people from the Ministry of Environment that the libraries will be there, and the new framework or the actualization will specifically deal with the libraries. And we think that this might help to make libraries more visible in the topic. But at the same time, as I said, we're still living in a country that believes that the most important thing is to produce cars. So it's pretty hard to kind of help libraries to become more supported and more important throughout the SDGs topics. That's what I wanted to share with you. And now I'm looking forward for questions or comments or even some ideas about how to change it and what to do. And I'm really looking forward for other invited guests to share their experience and their thoughts. Thank you for attention, and if there are any questions or comments, please welcome.
Yes, thank you, Eliska, very much for your very interesting presentation insight of the situation in the Czech Republic. And I think you did already quite a bit concerning the increasing of the visibility of libraries, especially in this topic. So, and of course, there is a lot more to be done. I think we all agree. But this is also a reason why we are here today together to share and to experience. So I ask my colleague Juliana, are there any questions concerning Eliska's presentation already in the chat we should take up?
Actually, no, we just had one general question, but I think that's better at the end because it wasn't concerning specifically her presentation.
Okay, so thank you. So to the audience, if we will also take up the questions at the end of our session. So please, if you have some remarks to Eliska's presentation, please do not hesitate to put it in the chat even if we go along with our program. But perhaps I have, first a remark. So Eliska, I think it was very interesting to see that you started from all the beginning. You had as partners the ministries in your group, and you still have. And we also were able to see there have been a very positive result already by having them in your group. So this already, I think, is not so easy to to succeed, to have some colleagues from the ministries, from the side of the political decision making in our library topics. So how did you succeed in having them working with you in this working group?
It was, I think, thanks to the fact that we personally know Jan Mareš from before, and we also know that he and his colleague are really active and really open to collaboration. And I think it's really important to find the people who are the kind of like a yes people. And we were lucky with that. So we could approach them. It's it's harder to approach people who are like just doing the agenda and not seeing the opportunity for partnership. So when we are doing these things, we are always trying to search the yes people, and it's usually that those people are well, I wouldn't say isolated, but they're doing their best in the system, and they also welcome some help from other partners and parties. So you need to, or at least that's what we did, to find the things that we can be beneficial to one another.
Yes, thank you. And for this, I think the SDGs are a very, very good topic for them to approach them, because they also have to deliver results in the topic of getting better in the SDGs and the Agenda 2030. So here, but what I also understand is that advocacy and creating personal contacts to your decision makers is very important. And by this, using the topic of SDGs can be very helpful for us librarians and for our purpose in our libraries. And here, creating contacts, becoming active towards your decision makers, of course, is on all levels. Also, if you're working in a small public library, you have your decision makers in your city hall. So I think there are on all levels, from the local to the international, possibilities to really create contacts and to propose yourself in the library as being a partner for those big topics.
And yeah, I totally agree. And that was one of our initial ideas, that what can help is like the translation, because the libraries already by design are helping in fulfilling SDGs, and they just don't communicate it this way. So what we were trying to do, together with connecting them to interesting people who they can invite or who they can collaborate with, was to kind of teach them or show them how they can translate the things that they are already doing into the SDGs kind of terminology or framework. So I think this is one of the ways how to approach this, to just and this is what, for example, Ablida is doing a lot, to see the or to be able to translate the benefits of libraries into the framework.
Yes, so Ablida is the European Library Association, and it's very interesting because we in Germany, we had the same situation, and for this we also created a platform with library activities to show other librarians what is meant by using the SDGs. And here you see many examples coming out of libraries for activities or services which are nothing new or special, but which just, libraries always did. Okay, so here we have a last question and then we move on. But to the audience, please keep on putting your questions or remarks in the chat, and we will come back to that later again. But here for the last question, perhaps, is the Trello group database you set up open to the public? Do the decision makers see your activities there?
It's completely open to the public, and the decision makers can enter and can see. What is also open is for example, map of organizations and and possible partners. We also offered it to the ministry that wanted to make some overview of what is going on in the Czech Republic. But the thing is that they are pretty busy to be able to connect it with more. But it's all completely open.
Okay, yes, thank you, Eliska. And perhaps you can put the link into the chat later on for the Trello and perhaps also for the Biblio 2030 platform in Germany, so people can have a look and an impression what we are talking about. So thanks again, and we move on to our second speaker coming from Ireland, which is Stuart Hamilton. Stuart is the head of the library's development, strategy, research, and communication at the Local Government Management Agency, LGMA. And as Stuart was unable to participate live today in our webinar, we recorded the interview with him before. And we had to shorten the interview because of time today, but you will find the full-length interview as well on our website later on, and we will also put the link at the end of the webinar into the chat, so you can follow also the full-length interview with Stuart Hamilton. But although Stuart is not with us today, please do not hesitate and write your questions and remarks also into the chat. And Stuart will talk about a new government SDG for Sustainable Development Goals, Nachhaltigkeitsziele, so the new government SDG implementation plan in Ireland and how he managed the strong involvement of public libraries in it. So, okay, let's start it. So, welcome, Stuart Hamilton from Ireland, to our online seminar, and thank you very much for taking your time to participate in our webinar. So, Stuart, we want to talk about the new governmental SDG implementation plan in your country, in Ireland. But before we start, I would like you to introduce yourself to our German audience.
Well, hello, thanks for having me. I'm Stuart Hamilton. I'm the head of libraries development at the Local Government Management Agency in Ireland, which means that I work with the 30 city and county librarians to implement the National Public Library Strategy. But I'm also very active in IFLA, the current president of NAPL, the National Authorities on Public Libraries in Europe, and have worked internationally with many great German colleagues, I have to say, a lot over the years.
Thank you, Stuart. So, in Ireland, this new government SDG implementation plan was published just recently. It has strong involvement with public libraries. And the SDG implementation plan for our German audience could be explained with das ist ein Plan der Regierung, wie die Nachhaltigkeitsziele, diese 17 Nachhaltigkeitsziele der Agenda 2030 stärker eingeführt werden, implementiert werden können in der Regierung im Land. And so, Stuart, before we talk about the plan and the involvement from the library side, let me ask you, how did you manage to get public libraries into the plan at all? What did you prepare? What did you do?
So in Ireland, first of all, it's a relatively small country. The population is around about 5 million. And the distance between organizations such as mine and central government is far smaller than in a country like Germany, for example. And this means, because of the nature of my role, I have quite a lot of flexibility to find people's phone numbers and ring them up, or to have colleagues who I already work with in government to request from them, look, I've heard that this thing is happening in this department. Can you put me in contact with somebody, because I think that libraries could play a role. So the outcomes that we've achieved with the implementation plan are a result of me being able to identify where an email or a phone call would be sensible, advantageous, and building a relationship with the person that I'm trying to reach on the other end of this. And maybe we'll talk a bit more than this, but I would say we're in the plan because I built the personal relationships with the people creating the plan.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. So now let's have a look at the plan itself, which is published and can be downloaded, of course, for our audience as well. And here already in the first sentence of the library chapter, public libraries are titled as key stakeholders of the Agenda 2030 in Ireland. This is really a great success. This is fantastic. So what is the explanation of this statement, and why are only public libraries and not academic libraries mentioned? Yes, perhaps you talk about this a little. We understand that you are engaged in the public library scene, but still, where are the academic libraries in this?
Yeah, that's something when I was thinking about the questions. I mean, it is a good question to ask. I don't have a sort of mandate in my capacity for the LGMA to speak on behalf of the academic library sector. And because I was undertaking this work sort of with my LGMA hat and not my Library Association of Ireland hat, I was sort of engaging in the conversations with what I know, and not speaking for the academic libraries. I was engaging. I also thought potentially the academic libraries may have been speaking to their government departments about this, tangentially as well, because of the huge amount of work that academic libraries do with access to research and other things which are crucial to the information side of the SDGs. What I did do was try to get examples from the academic library sector into that small section. So you'll see that I think in the examples, the case studies piece of the plan, there's a University of Cork, UCC example, who had which I managed to get from the IFLA SDG Stories database, if I remember correctly. So I made sure that there was reference to academic libraries, but yeah, this was a very public library focused exercise, it's sure. What I would like to see potentially is that in the next 2-year plan, which will run 25 to 27, we might go more whole of sector. But to be honest with you, this is so great for the public library sector that we have this very specific piece, that I'm happy to work on it for the next 2 years, full on.
Yes, for sure. It is really a great success to be mentioned like this. I think so too. So great. So what I thought, you talked already about your personal international engagement in the library work as well. And I thought it is really interesting that there are only 2 pages in this plan describing the possibilities and engagement of libraries in the topic of SDGs, so Nachhaltigkeit, SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, was wir als Nachhaltigkeitsziele bezeichnen. And in this brief text, the international connection of libraries in Ireland to the international library associations like IFLA, like EBLIDA on a European level, like the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities were mentioned. So why were these strong international relations within the library world, which of course Ireland is part of, why were they included? Why do they seem so important for your work in Ireland?
So this goes back a little bit to the point I made about having all of these wonderful examples to draw on now. It also goes a little bit towards the novelty piece that I mentioned. So when I reached out to to the government who were putting the plan together. Obviously, I gave them a brief written by myself, but in the brief, I pulled in quotes and I pulled in examples and I pulled in links to give the government people a real idea of the size of the engagement from the library community on the SDGs issue. And I think it's quite compelling to government representatives when they discover that actually this is clearly a much bigger thing for libraries than just Stuart Hamilton LGMA saying that he can help. And what actually happened with the 2 pages on the libraries is that the government people took my paper and basically edited it slightly for the plan. And that's what you see in the plan. So it's a brilliant example of if you're lucky and you do things right, you can end up writing parts of government plans yourself. That was good. So that's why, I mean, I knew that obviously IFLA has done a lot with the SDGs internationally, but I knew that Iblida had a very, very specific SDG focus that I wanted to make sure was in there. So those 2 organizations particularly, and then with UNESCO, Dublin City has good UNESCO connections. I feel UNESCO are a very useful organization to let policymakers know that libraries work closely with. It has a brand, it has a big name. It's even potentially a little bit more understandable than the UN, the big UN itself. So I knew that I wanted to get those organizations into the brief, and they came through. So that's why you see them in there. But I think it's a good, I would recommend it to anyone doing the same work because it shows the true context, the large context of what libraries do.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. I think it's. I was really happy about this, and you and myself, we are also working in the IFLA regional division Europe in the committee there, and in this committee with 20 participants from 20 European countries working together in the IFLA context. We also have the SDGs as one of our focus points. So here, as well as you just said, IFLA is strongly involved in the topic of SDGs from beginning on or before it was invented. And so we can have a lot of support from this International Library Association as well, for sure. So let's go back to the plan itself, and the last page of the chapter shows a list of 2 actions and measurements to achieve those goals. The first action is called Raise the Profile and Understanding of the SDGs across public libraries, which means kind of Stärkung des Stellenwerts und Verständnisses von Nachhaltigkeitszielen in öffentlichen Bibliotheken. Do you want to comment on these and explain the measures?
Yeah, definitely. One of the objectives of the government is that more people will actually know what the SDGs are, and there's a real strong ability of libraries themselves to communicate things to the public. Whether, at the moment, for example, in Ireland, we're doing a lot on energy conservation, which is a government priority, and the libraries can help by doing workshops or even simple promotion in the community to convey the government's message. It's something we all want to do. But in order to be able to do that, I think the SDG plan recognizes that the individuals themselves, the library staff, need to know first what it is that they're talking about. So as I mentioned, we have 1,800 staff in the public library sector in Ireland, and there's no way that all of those people know about the SDGs. It's just not the case. So we knew from the beginning that there was a big knowledge gap to be closed. So one of the actions that the government and myself discussed was training, awareness raising, activities to bring the SDGs to the attention of librarians and why they're relevant to library work. So that's really the intention of the actions there. That basically by focusing on the library staff can then take that knowledge and turn it into actions and activities that will focus on the public. So you hopefully have a exponential awareness raising that starts with the library staff and builds out from there.
That's right, yes. And we do this in Germany as well. That is why we have this online webinar series, which the German Library Association does at the moment. Our webinar today is only one part of a series of altogether 6 online seminars, and they are all recorded, so people can also have a look at them at our website to get informed. The others are all in German. To get the different aspects of these important topics to library staff. And what we also always want to tell our colleagues in the libraries, that it is nothing you have to add on to all your different duties you have to do anyway in your libraries, but it is really something, the topic is that what you do yourself anyway in your library. So you just have to change perspective, and you do not have to do anything more or something else on top. So this is
we always, I think that's a really important point, because we always said when we were in New York, when we were in Paris, when we were creating the arguments for the advocacy, libraries already do all of this stuff. It's just a question of us thinking in a slightly different way to say, actually, you know what, that work we're doing on that topic is supporting this SDG target. It's not like we have to create a specific program to address the target. It's already going on. And I think that's important.
Yes, I think so too. Let's talk a little about another topic which is mentioned in your plan. It is the so-called VNR process. It says in your measure 44 that libraries as a key stakeholder to feed into the VNR process. Also, dass die Bibliotheken als wichtige Interessenvertreter in den VNR-Prozess einspeisen. Und VNR ist die Abkürzung für Voluntary National Report, also freiwilliger nationaler Bericht. So what is the VNR process? And can you explain to our audience why is it important to libraries to be part of this process as well?
So as part of the framework for the 2030 agenda, it was agreed that there would be something called a high-level political forum, or the HLPF, that would take place in New York every summer, around about July, where every year a number of UN member states, a number from each UN region, would report on their progress. So because the kind of non-binding nature of the SDGs, it means that you have countries doing a voluntary reporting process on their progress. So the voluntary national reviews are an opportunity for any given country to come forward and to say, well, we've been doing this. And each high-level political forum will focus on a specific number of goals and targets. So you're not looking at all 169 targets every single summer. You're choosing some specific goals from the 17 and you're focusing on those. So basically, I feel very strongly that any country that is going to the UN in the summer to speak about the progress in their country should have a librarian or a library perspective included in what they're saying on the floor of the UN. And I made this clear to the Department of Environment, Climate and Communications. And again, there's this kind of sweet spot in advocacy where the person doing the advocacy and the target come to an agreement where it's recognized that the library side can do something for the government. So the government will be responsible for putting together a big report to be presented at the UN next July. So Ireland will be in New York next July, 2023. And I'm saying to them, guys, I'm going to give you a big library section for that report, and you can include it in your remarks on the floor of the UN. And then, guys, I want to come with you. I want to be on the government delegation, and I want to have a speaking slot, and I will arrange a side event for us with the UN Library and with IFLA or New York Public Library, and we'll raise the profile of Ireland in the VNR HLPF context. So that's been my plan all along with that piece. And it's a approach which we've started to see happen. I think this year was the first year I think that IFLA really achieved a critical mass. There was a number of library delegations going to New York, and I believe one government, and I'm going to say Lithuania, but I could be terribly wrong, and it could be Latvia, and my friends will never forgive me. But we did have a librarian on the government delegation for that country, and I believe they even got to say a few words. So we want to have that happening every year for the remainder of the 2030 agenda, and I want it to be Ireland next year.
Okay, now this is really ambitious, and compared to Germany, our last VNR report was published in 2021. So I guess we have a little more time to prepare our journey to New York, but for sure we will work on this as well. So this is a good inspiration for us. Thank you. But there is also something else going on every September all over the world. And here libraries can also participate a whole lot. And in Germany, we do already. Many libraries participate in the campaign, which takes place every September. It's called Action Day Sustainability, Aktionstage Nachhaltigkeit. The date in Germany for next year is already set. It is from the 20th to the 26th of September next year. And here it is like a campaign to make more visible what is done for achieving the SDGs, the Nachhaltigkeitsziele. And I read in your plan that you are also going to prepare an action week or something in September. So what are your plans for next September?
Oh, good questions. So we've just finished this September. So one of the things that the Department of Environment was very keen on was that we contributed to the SDG week that they would organize across the whole country. So if you look at the plan, you'll notice lots of other stakeholders listed in the contents, and you can see everything that they will do. So the intention here in Ireland is that every September, all of the stakeholders will voluntarily carry out any actions they can to raise awareness of the SDGs. So there's all sorts of different groups there that would have different things that they could do. With the libraries, of course, we have the capacity to hold events, activities, reading displays, online events, all sorts of things like that. So one of the things which I think is really important in advocacy here in Ireland is my organisation. I can't tell the libraries what to do, and I wouldn't want to. So it's really important that the county librarians in the Climate Action and Sustainability Working Group, for example, are comfortable with what we're doing, and any actions around SDG week, we can say to the libraries, well, you do what you want to do. Here is the big umbrella, and you know, you use whatever resources you have, because resources are thin. You know, if you can't tell public libraries you must do 10 SDG events in addition to all of your normal programming. So you kind of let the authorities that have the resources to do the SDG stuff go for it. And that's what we tried to do in September a little bit this year. We started, and it was a little bit more kind of, shall we say, probably more promotional, communications focused. I would imagine next year will be more activity, workshop, event focused. But I don't know precisely what we're doing yet. But if there is something going on in Germany at the same time, it might be interesting to see what Irish and German colleagues could do.
Yes, for sure. So perhaps we can even do something together in our libraries. And okay, I'm afraid we have to come to an end. I want to thank you very much, Stuart, for your time, for your input to your great ambitious plans in Ireland. We want to congratulate you to these first successes and looking forward to hear a lot more coming from Ireland and to also support our ideas in working on this topic. And we hope very much that we will work together for some actions next September for the Action Day Sustainability, and to exchange on this level on this important topic of SDGs. So Stuart, thanks again. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Hella.
And take care.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so I thank again Stuart Hamilton. As I said, he can't be with us today, but we recorded this interview before. And as I also said, and you will find in the chat, the full-length interview can be also found on our website after our webinar. So I think we hop on to our final speaker, to Māra Jēkabsone from Latvia. And Māra has a bachelor's and master's degree in library and information science, and a 20 years work experience in the library field, mostly in the National Library of Latvia. She now is the director of the Jomala Central Library. Current issues, trends, innovative services, and other library field matters are her favorite topics, as well as organizing events on national level. Her particular interest lies in library advocacy, library promotion, the image of the librarian, and our professional prestige. Māra is also president of the Library Association of Latvia. So, Māra, a very warm welcome to you, and we are excited to hear more about the activities in Latvia.
Hello, good afternoon. And as Hella already said, I'm Māra Jēkabsone, president of the Library Association of Latvia, and I will tell you today how Latvian libraries are going towards the SDGs through action in politics, and or it's your choice, politics in action. So a little bit a game with words. So, but anyway. I know that you are waiting many politics from me today, and yes, we have some success in that, but I would like to say that there is impossible to get some success in politics without any action. So keep it in mind and let's move forward. Here you can see some activity timeline. From the beginnings with the first activities to awareness raising and capacity building, cooperation, focus change in SDGs conception from opportunity to obligation, and the future direction to SDG evaluation and strategy. And we will move from some timeline points in my presentation. And since 2015, the IFLA have been raising awareness and supporting librarians in their work on SDGs. Latvian librarians are regularly informed about SDGs activities, including information materials and publications. On the initiative of the Library Association of Latvia, several important publications have been translated and made available in Latvian. For example, the IFLA SDG Storytelling Manual and the EBLIDA Sing the Unsinkable Report. Also, some examples of Latvian libraries are included in IFLA and EBLIDA SDG information materials and many presentations. Many lessons and discussions are organized for Latvian librarians since 2016. One of the big successes is participation in the National Development Plan Working Group, Culture and Sport for Active and Better Life. There was four working groups, each group for each direction for this National Development Plan. And one great thing to underline is this participation in this group started as personal my initiative. I wrote a letter to these people who was preparing this national development plan. Some colleagues doesn't believe that I could jump in, but people who was preparing this national development plan included me. And what is the greatest thing, I was the only representative of the library field there. There was some people from Ministry of Culture and some other ministries, but from the library field in general, I was the only one representative who represented not only our association, but also all libraries in general. And the result, of course, is that the libraries are clearly included in the National Development Plan, which is the highest national level strategic planning document. So we are in, and it's a great success of our association. In October 2019, there was founded or established such an institution, such a national cross-sectoral coalition for implementation of sustainable development goals. It's a voluntary coalition which is run by one NGO, Latvian Platform for Development Cooperation, and the members of this coalition are individuals and legal entities, NGOs, government representatives, private sector, municipality representatives, academia, politicians, etc. We have not many activities so far. There was run some workshops, discussions, idea and experience exchange, but we hope to go close because of COVID disturbed all our activities, but we hope to go together again and to move forward. And the purpose of our association, why we came into this as members in this coalition, was to show the impact and activities of libraries and to distribute information also to libraries, because we are great distributors of information. And for example, we can spread information to our libraries and then to the society, and etc. In 2019, there was started one great project. The National Library of Latvia, the Latvian National Commission for UNESCO, and the Library Association of Latvia started a seminar series, Libraries and Sustainable Development. We build this world ourselves. This project was aimed to highlight the role and involvement of libraries in achieving SDGs, discuss the opportunities for libraries to improve the lives of their communities, and share stories and activities that have already been implemented. The introductory seminar provided an overview of SDGs and shared experiences on the activities implemented by libraries. In order to facilitate the inclusion of as many librarians as possible, in the exchange of information and experience about SDGs matters. 4 regional seminars were run after the introductory seminar. 2 seminars were held as face-to-face events, and 2 seminars was held online. With the financial assistance of the Nordic Council of Ministers office in Latvia, Embassy of Sweden, Finland, and Norway in Latvia, stories from local library alongside stories from local libraries, guest lecturers from Sweden, Finland, and Norway spoke at the regional seminars. The seminar series was rounded off by a major conference for Estonian, Latvian, and Lithuanian museums and libraries titled Localizing the Sustainable Development Goals through Baltic Museums and Libraries. This conference was watched online by over 1,000 participants in September last year, and the conference offered presentations by local and international sector experts and practical workshops to gain knowledge, try out useful tools, and network with colleagues from the Baltics, including colleagues with political background as well. Also in last year, representatives of the Latvian library sector have started to participate in IFLA and EBLIDA special interest groups, which are involved with sustainable development. Especially active in this field is the secretary of our association, Kristine Deksne, who is participating, for example, in the evaluation of applications for IFLA Green Library Award and articles for ENSULIB newsletter. And Christine also gave a brilliant presentation and moderation of one of the workshops in the EBLIDA annual conference in Athens this year. To encourage librarians to look more in depth and help libraries to see their role in the sustainable development of their communities, the Latvian Library Report, which is prepared by the Library Development Center at the National Library of Latvia, includes a special section on SDGs that summarizes and analyzes the experiences of Latvian libraries in the field of SDG implementation. As a result of previously noted project, Libraries and Sustainable Development, we built this world ourselves. A report of Latvian library experience in SDG field, Latvian Libraries and Sustainable Development Goals, was prepared. The full version of the report is available in Latvian, and short version is in English, and it's free available in internet. So you can click on the name of the report, and you can open and read it in English. Because the National Library of Latvia is among the most active EBLIDA partners in the field of SDGs, both in the LCA expert group and in the Think the Unthinkable program, the EBLIDA has invited National Library of Latvia to join forces and work together on preparation of the EBLIDA publication, second European report on sustainable development and libraries, and dissemination of the report results. So it's very great. The job was done in this. And the latest report, which includes Latvian libraries, is the voluntary national review of Latvia for this year. And joining the forces of the National Library and Library Association and cooperating with institutions responsible for the preparing this report, libraries are very well represented in this national report. And Stuart already touched this theme, and it's our greatest success in this year is the participation. Oh, what happened right now? Okay. Yeah, we are back again. So I look for, yeah, one moment. I will look for my notes. Sorry. Yeah. In the spring, as Stuart already mentioned, this report is prepared every 4 years. And the first VNR Latvia was prepared in 2018. During this process, we only started to cooperate, and it was also my personal initiative. During preparing this first report, I wrote to the people who was preparing this report, but unfortunately there was not very big success in 2018, but we started to communicate, we started to cooperate, and after 4 years the big changes was done. So, but the active in previous slides described the work of the Library Association in the field of SDGs was the reason for IFLA's invitation to the association president. So for me to participate in the UN high-level political forum on sustainable development in New York this year. I participated in the forum together with 8 other library field professionals from other countries and represented both IFLA and the library field in general, the Library Association of my country and Latvian librarians in particular, as well as my country and its non-governmental organizations. At the forum, Latvia presented its voluntary report on the progress of the national so I lost the report of the progress of the of this VNR. So sorry, I have lost my note. Sorry, yeah, about implementation of the SDGs for the second time. Comparing the first report presented in 2018, the second report demonstrates the role of libraries much more strongly. And our library association is also mentioned in the report. Also, I would have liked the cooperation between association and national library could have been more emphasized. Because thanks to the close cooperation of both our institutions, our association and National Library, it became possible to achieve this successful result in strengthening the role of libraries in achieving the SDGs. And the clear success of this achievement is that during the second report of Latvia, libraries were mentioned 3 times. First time in the presentation of the Minister of Education and Science, second time in the side presentation of the director of the Latvian Platform for Development Cooperation, and third time in my question to the minister as a representative from the Latvian NGOs. By the way, this draw attention also as a true woman power, because all 3 speakers in this United Nations Forum was women. Yeah, but to finalize this VNR focus, I would like to say that the first VNR in 2018 was the first initiative. The second, in this second VNR in this year was real action based on the 4 years cooperation. So if you would like to go to the VNR scene, you have at least 4 years hard job, but it's possible, and I am clear examples that it's really it's possible. So what's next? We will continue and strengthen our cooperation with existing partners. Of course, we will make new collaborations, including our aim is to start some international projects. The one great focus we would like to start go more deeper is to get some evaluation techniques and guidelines, because one thing is to take activities and disseminate information, but other thing is to start evaluate our activities to get more results for stakeholders and politicians, because politicians like to see results, to see facts, and without evaluation we can get no results and no facts. The libraries, at the moment, there is in the preparation process is our library field strategy for the next period, and as SDG focus will be very strong included in this strategy. And of course, we need more actions in this political focus to more cooperation with politicians. And what is necessary, we need to talk not only with politicians in national level, we need to talk also with politicians in regional level. But for example, we have the aim to start to communicate with Sustainable Development Commission in the parliament of our country, make closer connections with these politicians. So, of course, the gathering experience and informing and information dissemination work will also continue. Here you can see some examples. We have a Latvian library portal, a portal which disseminates information of the library field. There is a special section dedicated to the SDGs focus, and the same has done also Museums Association. They also have a special section in their homepage dedicated to SDG matters. So in this section, our librarians and museum specialists can find all information related with SDG matters, and it's the information from one point, and like a platform to disseminate this information. So that's all. Vielen Dank, and if you have any questions or comments, yeah, I'm ready to answer. Thank you.
Yes, we say vielen Dank, Māra. Thank you very much for this very impressive presentation, and it's really so great to see what is possible. And perhaps also when you started your presentation and said, I just tried it out, and yes, I was accepted for this one group there. I thought, yes, perhaps we as librarians shouldn't be so shy, and but just go for it and try, and we can only fail. Okay, then we fail, but we should always give it a try. So this was really impressive, and also congratulations to you and your colleagues to be mentioned in your VNR report. This is great, and we know now where we have to really put more emphasis on, and we are now ambitious also to go for it. Thanks again. So we have two questions. Yes, we will manage these. So the first one is, I'm interested in the issue of Library of Things as a contribution to sustainability. So far, I did research in Europe. However, I'm curious how further countries are dealing with this issue. Now, our countries are also coming from Europe, but still, I think there was also the remark in the chat where to find more information about the Library of Things. I don't know, Māra or Eliska, do you want to give a brief response on this? If not, we go to the next question.
No, I could comment that in Latvia, Library of Things is not very popular. So yeah, I cannot answer on this question.
Okay. Eliska?
There is one Library of Things in Prague, and it's run by Goethe Institute, actually. And there are some libraries who are thinking about doing that, but the main obstacle is the space.
Yes, so perhaps a very brief explanation. Library of Things means that the libraries really have some things to lend out, not only books or information, but also some what is it? Some things you can use for gardening, or
for example,
some tools for handwork stuff or something like this. Right. Okay. So let's move on to another question. Yes, the libraries are interested in implemented but how to conquer the rest of the academia to do so. I'm from Portugal, working in an academic library with a 2-year project to promote SDGs, but the awareness from the academic community is still a little low. Yes, I think this was concerning the presentation from Stuart, but still, do one of you want to give your experiences from your country? Including, yeah, how can we include the academic world? So
it's a question is how does it what kind of including it is, because it depends. It's I think that it's some personal aspect, how active and interested in sustainable development academics are, professors and etc. But I could give one good example. Riga Technical University is one of the leaders in our country in the green thinking, and they are very attractive and very active academics. So I guess not all academia are lazy, and so yeah, it depends on people, I guess.
Yes, probably you're right. It's always the same. That's right. That's right. Perhaps it might be a little easier for public libraries to show in an easy way what they mean by acting more environmentally. You know, like in Germany, they use the library bags you can reuse again, and small little projects and things like this. And this might be more difficult in academic libraries. But when you think of academic libraries, that they also distribute information for a broader use, then of course you are the support of information flow and open access, for example. All these are important topics for achieving the SDGs. Yes, so let's go to the third question here. It's you mentioned the regional politics. How do you emphasize the need for SDG in regional politics, where you have more conservative city council who are, mildly spoken, not very interested in sustainability issues? Yes. Do you want to comment?
Yes, conservative city councils is a problem in Latvia also, but I think not all city councils are so conservative that it looks like. Maybe you was talking to some people from this city council. Maybe you can start to talk with some people who are more open, and we in Latvia, we have such a proverb that if you cannot eat the whole elephant, you could eat it splitting in the small parts. So yeah, if you cannot if you have not feedback from the for example one council politician, you can go to another one, make team, make connections, and maybe you can start with the secretary, with the financialist, and maybe with some other people who are interested in make connections, make teams, and build this connection from not from the above but from the bottom. So yeah, that's my advice.
I think it's a very clever and important advice. Yes, don't give up, but start on a very small scale, and then little by little we will all together and international succeed. Yes, so I want to thank you. I want to thank our speakers and, of course, our audience for participating today. This was a very important and interesting discussion we had. So thank you very much for this. And I also want to thank my colleague Juliane for all the technical support in the back and for also supporting the chat. So as we announced, you will find the recording of this seminar and some further links on our website. So now to conclude, I would like to refer to our next online seminar, which will take place in February in German, and again on the topic of sustainability in libraries and politics. So, thanks again to everybody. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much and good luck.
Yes, yes, there is a lot to be done. We learned this today, but we will go for it. So, take care. Thanks again and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Goodbye.